It was so bad, so many patients went into liver failure, and a lot of patients went blind, and a lot of patients died. Now, if you think like throwing up or lap band being too tight or heartburn is bad, imagine going blind. Hi, I'm Dr. Duc Vuong. I'm the world's #1 weight loss surgeon, author of 13 books with a couple more on the way. I'm going to cure obesity with your help. Tonight we're going to talk about why different weight loss surgery programs have different recommendations. So, are you a weight loss surgery patient? Are you post-op and you're hearing that some patients did different things compared to what your surgeon told you? They're talking about different things in the different Facebook groups and stuff. Maybe you're pre-op. Imagine you're pre-op and you're real kind of confused and nervous. You don't know what to believe. You don't know who to believe. You don't know if it's going to be painful or how long you're going to have to be in liquids for, or one person has to be on liquids for 4 weeks and you don't even have to do it. Maybe you went to Mexico. Maybe you're all sorts of confused. Okay? So I'm going to clarify this for you guys. Now, the standard kind of foundation we're going to say is we all know that programs can have different recommendations. Will it make a big difference in the long run? I don't think so, except for the educational component, and that's my expertise. If you're new to me, I used to lead my own education groups. I did not call them support groups. They were during the work days. They started at around 3:30. People would have to come, leave work early. They were required. They were not optional. If you didn't come, minimum 4 weeks before surgery, minimum 4 weeks after surgery, you couldn't have the surgery with me. But most patients ended up coming anywhere from 15, 20, 25. I had patients come in for 2-3 years, almost every week, to these educational groups. Well, why? Because they needed that education. And I led these groups up to 3 times a week, and oftentimes they were standing room only, 60 people. And in addition to that, I had a Saturday special session, one Saturday a month, where I would talk about a little bit more esoteric topics. Sometimes I'd talk about meditation and yoga, and I'd talk about quantum physics sometimes. And sometimes I'd bring in special speakers too. And then during those special sessions, we also had a clothing swap, because as you know, if you're going to be successful, you shrink out of sizes too fast. So it gets pretty expensive, and we only had people bring their nicest clothes. And then on that same night, we had a dinner club where my volunteers, I had patients who volunteered. We went to nice restaurants. They got menus ready, specially designed menus, small portion sizes, usually 4 courses with wine pairings. We'd usually have about 50 seats at around $50 each, and we'd sell out in 10 minutes. And it was quite a community we had. I was very proud of the program. We had amazing results. In 4.5 years, over 1,200 surgeries, I never took anybody back to the operating room for a surgical complication. Okay, that's unheard of in surgery, and it's really unheard of in bariatric surgery. When you're dealing with bigger patients, a lot of comorbidities, sleep apnea, diabetes, high blood pressure, you get the idea. Joint pain, can't walk. And so to be able to say that, it wasn't because, I was a good surgeon, don't get me wrong, I got skills, Dr. V's got some game, but it was really because of the preparation work that we did and the tight community that we had, so that if a patient was struggling afterwards, there was a lot of help there. So patients often reached out to each other to check on each other. They visited each other in the hospital. They would share OptiFast. If someone didn't have enough money to pay for the OptiFast, they would donate OptiFast, and the only thing that we requested is that you donate back at some time in the future whenever you were able to. So we had a very special, different type of community. The only reason why I'm telling you that is because I think in the long run, that's ultimately what made a difference for my program. It wasn't exactly when you transition to solids. Most of my patients stuck to the food calendar that I gave them, but I'm no idiot. I don't expect everybody to be perfect. Some people were just like fuck that skinny Asian. I gotta eat. Sometimes they did that. But for the most part, we had a great community, right? What we want to talk about is why there are differences amongst the programs, et cetera, et cetera. And it's very simple when you look at it, okay? So I got 3 reasons for you. Let's get started with number 1. That was a long-ass introduction to Dr. V. So the number 1 reason, or the first reason is this. It's old, you know the answer, information. Okay? A lot of these programs are operating on old information, especially when you get finding some older surgeons that are 50, 60, 65 years old. They were in the heyday, the busy early days of weight loss surgery when they might be the only ones. You have to imagine back in the mid-80s and 90s, weight loss surgery actually started in the 60s, but it started to become kind of a more common thing in the mid-80s and 90s. And you used to go to a conference, or you would be in an hospital meeting, and you'd say you're a weight loss surgeon, and they'd laugh you right out of the room. They thought you were, a shuckster, a heister, or whatever you call it, right? You weren't credible as a surgeon. And then as the results came in, after the morbidities, mortalities started to settle down, the studies that show the benefits of weight loss surgery in the 2000s, it really took off, right? And now when you say you're a weight loss surgeon, everyone's like, oh, he's the man. It wasn't that way starting off. But back in the early days, there just wasn't good information. Surgeons, they were busy operating. They were trying to figure this out. People were dying. They were testing on animals and dog labs, and they were, trying to figure out these surgeries. They didn't really have time to create materials, right? So a lot of the materials are based on old information. So like old studies that, for example, all the malabsorption. I'm going to tell you, here's a good example. So whatever you do, stop, listen to this, because everyone asks me this fucking question. The protein amounts. Dr. Vuong, my program tells me to eat 80 grams a day, 100 grams a day. Well, first of all, you can't even process that much protein. Your body cannot process that much protein, okay? But why does my surgeon tell me that? Because this was from old studies, from an old surgery called a jib, jib with a B. It's called a jejunal bypass that was super malabsorptive, that people were spilling protein left and right. They couldn't keep up with their protein needs. It was so bad, so many patients went into liver failure, and a lot of patients went blind, and a lot of patients died. Now, if you think throwing up or lap band being too tight or heartburn is bad, imagine going blind. That's some really bad shit, right? So that's why we don't do a jib anymore, jejunal bypass. But guess what? The studies to try to prevent this still hang around in the literature. And what's happened is this old information, you got it, just gets passed down from one surgeon to the next surgeon to the next surgeon. See, as a baby Dr. V, when I was a baby Dr. V, I had to go to conferences. So sometimes you had a senior surgeon. So if you were a junior surgeon, you would just do what your senior surgeon told you. And you'd get that information passed down. If you were a junior surgeon, you might go to conferences. And guess who's teaching the conferences? That's right, the senior surgeon. The one's doing research. The one that's, and he should. Because they should be talking about what's worked or didn't work, right? So this old information just keeps getting passed down and down and down. Now, I'm going to tell you about something about medicine that people don't understand. So there are 2 industries that do not integrate new information very well. Historically speaking, they're trying to get better. They're trying to get better. Two businesses that don't do it well. Guess what they are? One, construction. For the most part, we still build crap the same way we've built it for the last 60, 70 years, right? Think about that. I mean, and yes, I know there are newer materials and something, but for the most part, It's basically the same. They're slow if you look at how far we've come in 100 years. I'll give you an example, right? Like 100 years ago, if someone from 100 years ago came here to present day and you showed them your iPhone, guess what? They would think you were like some god or something, some alien from an advanced civilization. And that's how we communicate these days with iPhone, with cell phones. We went from wiretaps, tick, 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 to that, to your smartphone. But when it comes to construction, we still have steel beams and poles and nails and screws and rivets. It's all the same. It hasn't moved. And number two, you got it, is medicine. Very slow to change. Both of these businesses are very slow to change. There's a lot of resistance. Why? You don't want a lot of change. You invested a lot of money, research, R&D. You know, that's one reason. It's money. You know, you don't want that technology changing too fast or that new thing. You don't want your CAT scanner to be outdated. You don't want your surgery, your equipment to, you know, especially if you're the hospital, you invested all this equipment, money in this equipment. It's going to go away. You know, here's a joke in medicine. You say it's a chair. I'm going to buy a nice chair for my house. It's $100 for a nice one. But you put the word bariatric in front of it, now it's $1,000. So when we wanted to go become a center of bariatric centers of excellence and we had to have bariatric sized chairs, it suddenly became $800 to $1,000 a chair. We were like, what? That's just the system. That's how it works, okay? So it's slow to integrate new information, okay? Don't get frustrated. There is new information. Every year we go to conferences, multiple conferences. There is new information. The surgeons are excited. The nurses are excited. The nurse practitioners are excited. And we go back on Monday after the conference, and guess what? The same old forms, the same old worksheets, the same old protocols, because it's so slow to change, right? Which then takes me to the second reason why different programs have different recommendations. Now, don't take this the wrong way, because this might piss some people off. Surgeons, for the most part, surgeons don't run the programs. And you kind of don't want them to. You don't want them to. Now, I love my surgeons. I was a surgeon. But a lot of patients think that surgeons say surgeon it goes. That'd be nice if it's how that really worked, but not anymore. That might have been the old days, but that's not how things work now. Okay? And whether you like it or not, surgeons, let me ask you this question. What does the hospital want the surgeon to be doing? What does the surgeon want the surgeon to be doing? How does the hospital make money from a surgeon? How does a surgeon make money as a surgeon? Operations. You want your surgeons operating because it's good for the hospital and good for the surgeon. Check, check. That's how I made my money. Right? Dr. Vuong, it shouldn't be that way. Well, you're not going to change it. That's how it works. Just like you go to job. You get paid 9 to 5. These doctors are getting paid 9 to 5 too. And it's lawyers are this way, accountants are this way. It's just this way. I don't know why in medicine somehow we're not allowed to make money or talk about money. In fact, my argument is if we were more clear about money, if there was no insurance in the way, if there was no medical billing, no medical coding, no stupid RVU system, it's just so stupid the way it's set up. It's all clouded in the secrecy, and that drives up the costs. And the cost, trust me, my dear viewers, does not come down to the surgeon. In fact, it's the opposite. The surgeon is getting less. They have to do more. So how would you like that at your job? You do more work, Mary, but I'm going to pay you less this year. That's what every doctor, every physician, regardless of their specialty, is being told year after year after year. Do more this year, but we're going to pay you less. Eventually, that camel's back's going to break. For Dr. V, it broke. I was like, dude, I get paid okay for all the headaches I had and other things behind the scenes. I was kind of like, I don't care what y'all think about me. I'm not doing it for the money. I mean, I need the money. I mean, like, some people are like, Dr. Vuong's always asking us to buy programs. Well, yeah, I'm unemployed. That's the only way I make money is if you buy a program. And you need to buy my program because the shit works. My shit's good. I know if you buy it, it will help you. So once I got over this whole issue about selling, like when I realized that no one else is creating content, no one else is talking to y'all the way I talk to y'all, no one's getting through to y'all the way I get through to y'all, like it becomes my duty to get my book in your hand. It's a $20 book. It's a $17 online course. You don't want to pay $17 to help you get ready for surgery? That's like on you. That's not on me. I'll give you another example. My premium course is my Sleeve Academy. After this broadcast, I'm going to go over to my secret Facebook Sleeve Academy group. You can't find it. Don't try to search it. You have to have a secret password to get in. And I only open it up every 6 weeks or so because it's an academy. You have to graduate through it. And I'm going to do a Facebook Live for them. And I'm going to bring them on camera with me. And they're going to be able to ask me questions face to face. You know, we get to have a little discussion. We're going to expand on this, especially if people are trying to get ready for surgery. How valuable is that, right? Now, you don't like that? You don't like the price on that? Well, you get your surgeon to do that for you. He's not going to do it for you. Does that make sense what I'm saying? And I do it because, I know it works. That's it. I know it works, okay? So this was a losing struggle. Now, you put yourself in my shoes, and it doesn't matter how much you think that money I make. Every single year, you're getting paid less, but you have to do more and more work to get paid less. Not get paid the same. To get paid less. You're working harder to get paid less. To see your family less. To see my daughter less. To, all that stuff. Anyway, I got sidetracked. All right. So surgeons don't run the programs anymore, is my point. Because of the economic pressures. Let me clarify that by saying there are just economic pressures on the system. All right. Now, there's a reason why I'm telling you this. So if the doctor is in the OR all the time trying to make money now, because that's what he has to do, how in touch with his patients do you think he's going to be? How much time is he going to spend with his patients, do you think? Not as much as he wants. You might sit there and be saying, my surgeon never spent any time with me. Well, it's not because he didn't want to. We want to sit down and try to explain to you guys all the risks and the possible complications and the behavior changes that you need to make. We just can't. Economic pressures, right? I know. I was crazy. I set up a very different system, as I talked at the beginning. So then what happens is who runs the shows? So now you're talking about nurses run the show, run the program now. So you have several of these. There could be a bariatric coordinator, and it could be a nurse practitioner, NP. It could be it's rarely a PA, that's a physician's assistant, right? But it's going to be these, they're called extenders now, physician extenders. This helps to extend my reach, right? So these ladies, usually ladies, don't always have to be ladies or gentlemen, they're usually not in the operating room. They might be an assistant who does the operating room a little bit, but they have a little bit more time. And now what they're going to have to do is go back through all that old paperwork. Comment if your program had a 1-inch binder or a 2-inch binder, or some programs 3-inch binder. With if you're lucky, if you had a 3-inch binder, most programs is a 1/2-inch binder and maybe 30, 40 pages printout paper, probably a few recipes, a few things to eat as you transition. It's usually right after surgery, right? When you go home, rest, walk, sleep, you might feel tired. That's about a paragraph. And then on liquids here, you can have broth, you can have Gatorade, you can have Pedialyte, you can have Jello. And then, stage 2 would be this soft foods, maybe a few recipes, maybe a couple of exercises you can do. Here's some emergency phone numbers to call. Go to the emergency room if you have problems. And that's about it. Comment if that was kind of your program. Well, if it was, it's this person who has to put it together or comb through it or whatever. Not this person. And whatever he or she decides put in there, God bless. I mean, it might be the right thing that needs to go in there, but they'll give it to the surgeon and say, hey, what do you think of this? And if the surgeon might want to look it over, might want to cross out some things, might notice. Imagine this. If there is a word that's missing, like do not, blah, and they left out the not. How important is that? Right? So anyway. So it ends up falling on the nurse practitioners, right? Now, the last thing about this I want to talk about, programs, and this is frustrating for you guys, the viewers. I get it. Because you pay your copays, you pay for your insurance every month. Every time you come to the doctors, you got to give them $25 or $50 or whatever. I get it. It's frustrating. But from the hospital's standpoint and the doctor's standpoint, programs don't generate revenue. In other words, they don't make no money. They don't make money. They're kind of a lost leader. They're accepted these days, not always, but these days. They are considered a process, what? To get patients into surgery. Now, before you say it, don't make any comments like it was a cattle call, you felt like you were just putting through the mill. I've heard all those complaints. Not about me. But it is just how our industry works. Now, why am I telling you this? Because I said at the beginning, this is the battle we're after. This is my call to you. You got to sit down and open your mind and understand this, because if this is going to change, if we are going to cure obesity, we have to understand how this process works, right? Make sense what I'm saying? Hospitals, physicians groups, doctors groups, they have pretty much decided that programs do not generate money. They are a loss leader. They are not expected to make money. In fact, if they just broke even, they'd be happy. That includes paying for the nurses and the techs and the assistants and everything. If they could just break even and get enough patients to the OR, they'd be happy. I'm going to tell you that model will fall apart in bariatrics. Why? Let's see who's paying attention. If you're driving patients, pay attention now, to do more surgeries, get them to the program, Dr. Vuong, get more surgeries. And then after surgery, what happens? Whoa, where do they do their follow-up? Follow-up. Now, I drew this small for a reason. Because you do the surgery how many times on a patient? One time. You have to follow up with the patient how often? Well, if it's Dr. V follows up with you for a lifetime. But most programs, let's say they follow up with you for a year and a half, 2 years even. 2 years, and what happens at 2 years? You're doing so well. I'm going to discharge you, release you to go follow up with your primary care doctor, your internist. And then your internist is like, I don't know what to do with you. Because, see, the system's broken. They didn't work this out. So what happens to the follow-up? Bigger and bigger and more and more and now you have more nurses, assistants. It's just that you increase the numbers and numbers, and this gets gigantic, and none of it makes money. But you have this huge office, and none of it makes money. What will happen eventually? Not sustainable. It will collapse. Does that make sense? It will collapse. I saw it in my own practice. They were just never happy enough. And we were even revenue positive. So, but relative to where they could be spending the money, they were like, Dr. V, you got to generate more. I'm like, I need more help back here. I mean, I'm doing all this shit and writing the books and creating the online courses and doing the social media and rushing home at nighttime. Do you guys, hey, comment if you followed me in my early days when I used to do a Periscope every night and then I transitioned to Facebook Live every night. And I'd come in rounding, it'd be 7. I was sweaty. I was just turn on the phone. Sometimes I sat by the fireplace. Have you seen the old videos of me with my fireplace in the background? This before I had a board. I did that all while being the busiest bariatric surgeon in the state of New Mexico. So, I mean, I don't care what you think about me. I didn't sell out, man. I just saw that this is not sustainable, right? Does that make sense? All right. First 2 reasons, pretty good, right? Old information in a big system that's very broken and very slow to taking on new change. And then also surgeons don't run the business because the way the business model is set up now, programs lose money and the surgeons and the hospitals make money by being in the operating rooms. So what you're doing is you're generating a lot of one-off, like one service, hopefully, not 2, not a revision, not a complication, right? 1 good sleeve, 1 good bypass, and then you have a lifetime of follow-up. So you're building up a backlog, and that's unsustainable, especially if it all falls on the shoulders of one skinny Asian, is what I'm saying. All right, so number 3, why do different programs have different recommendations? And this is the big one. And I think y'all all kind of know it. And when I say it, you'll be like, yeah, he's right. It's ego. What? Yeah, my surgeon had a big ego. No, not just the surgeon. Not just the surgeon. There's a lot of egos involved. Ego. So you got surgeons. Nah, hold on. Let me say it proper. Let me say it more nicely. Because it's not just the surgeon, right? It's the whole medical professionals, medical profs, the professionals. Surgeons want to think that they're skilled and talented and have more training, talk down to their internists, their EGD, GI doctor, blah, 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 right? Ego of them, hospital systems, insurance systems. I haven't even touched on insurances, right? So insurance systems, you guys don't know this, but, well, as if you have insurance, you know that your company can switch to different carrier, which you might lose your doctor that you've been with for a long time. You might not be able to follow up with your surgeon, right? That's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about insurances will start fucking with a doctor. Is that my first F word? Who's too successful, who's doing too many cases, who's having too many good results. I know that sounds screwed up, but it's true. I experienced it a couple times. They would start slow paying. They would start denying your approvals. We'd have to start, and it works both ways. We'd have to start requesting reviews and talk, and I'd have to get on the phone with medical advisors. If I was doing too many cases, and I noticed in the summer they had to slow me down. And then sometimes, like, let's say it's November, December, and suddenly they're like, oh my God, we got to get rid of all, they have buckets, right? That they have amounts targets they have to hit. So they might be like, oh my gosh, we got to get more cases through. This is the insurance companies. Now they'll start suddenly approving everybody. It's fucked up, I know. Or if I'm on pace for what they projected in their systems, then they'll be on track. Or they might even slow me down. They might delay it to the spring. I mean, it's just all sorts of screwed up crap, right? And I have insurance programs, a couple of different ones, change their requirements right in the middle. Decide to have both ways. Went from like no no diet necessary or 1 or 2 months diet necessary, up to like 6 months to slow us down. Suddenly, like we tell a patient, oh, you only have to have like 3 dietary visits, and then we have to call them back and say, oh, your insurance just changed it to 6 months. And then vice versa. I've had insurances, and when I was in Illinois, they had 6 months of dietary requirements, and they suddenly went down to 2. Like, woohoo! And the first doctor's visit counted. So a month later, you have your second visit. So it was really only 1 month. It was just two dietary visits. Crazy. All right. So ego, and of all involved. But I also want to say this. All right. Let me go back to the surgeon real quick. So surgeon, I want to call out my surgeon leaders a little bit, because I don't think patients realize that surgeons, for the most part, are the leaders of medicine. I'm not saying that with a big ego, but it's true. We're decision makers, the power players, because we make the most money, right? But as a surgeon, you think you're special. I am special. I mean, I train hard. We all think this, but surgeons do. There's that old joke, right? I heard this joke. You want to hear it? Can I tell you a joke real quick? Okay, ready? What's the difference between a God and a surgeon? Answer: God doesn't walk around saying he's a surgeon. Ta-da! Come on, give me some claps, man. Give me some hearts. That was funny, right? So they think I'm special, like they have a special technique, special hands, special talents, I work hard, blah, 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 blah. Right? But now follow me. If they think they're special, then therefore, what? My program is special. My program works. Now, I have a few friends and colleagues who are in bariatrics who are open to suggestions. They come to me and say, Dr. V, tell us about social media. What you built has been amazing. Like how can we do it? And then I've got other surgeons basically tell me to fuck off, really in nicer terms, but they basically said that. And that's why I took it to social media, So therefore, my program is special. Now, follow me through this logic, right? If you are a hospital administrator, hospital CEO, or I will call it the business side, right? Now, how are you going to compete in the marketplace? How are you going to differentiate yourself from the other bariatric program down the street or in town, right? You're going to also say, I have the best surgeon, and we have the best program. And you might not have the best surgeon. That surgeon might be under a lot of scrutiny. And your program, a hospital administrator, you know nothing about the program because you never stepped foot in my office. How would you know? You see, but that's the face you want to put on. Why? Because of the ego. All right? Now, you guys don't get off the hook so easy. So patience. What do y'all think? I am special. I am special, man. Dr. V, you don't understand. You never had a case like me. I can't lose weight for anything. I've tried every diet. It's got to be my metabolism. We were all fat. I think it's my thyroid. You've never seen it. It doesn't work. I'm special. Well, if you think that, which most of y'all do you want to go to an average, every blah blah program? No. You want to go to the special program. Do you want an okay surgeon? Do you want... No, man. You want the I am special surgeon. That surgeon walks in confident, knows what he's doing. Everybody watches him and he calls the shots and you're like, oh, that's my surgeon. Is that true? That's true, right? And in fact, all of this is so fucking true, even within the same program. Comment if this is true. for you. Even within the same program, you can have 2 different surgeons or 3 different surgeons, and they all have different protocols. They will all have different protocols. Like if you get surgeon A, you might be on liquids for 2 weeks post-op. You have surgeon B, you might be on liquids for 3 weeks post-op. And if you have surgeon C, who's this old cranky motherfucker, he might feed you the night after surgery because that's how he trained. There was a surgeon who used to do that up in like upstate New York. You wake up and you'd have a hamburger. Think about that. Which makes you wonder, why did we bother putting you on liquids and stuff? See? Are you following me now? It's all ego, right? It's like, how are we different? How are we going to compete in this marketplace? You know, patients want to be different. You want to feel unique. Oh, that reminds me. Now, why is this? Now, how do we justify this? Dr. Vuong, that sounds crazy, but it's true. And then you're going, but he's true. He's right. Come on, give me some hearts if you know I'm right. So how do we justify this? Now, comment if you heard this before. Medicine, dear sir, is an what? You got it. Art. Dr. V, medicine is an art. You can't treat every patient the same. Not every diagnosis is the same. It's just, they have a multitude of symptoms for the same problem, and it's an art form, and you've got to like really, okay. Well, maybe it is an art, but I don't know. If you ask me, I think it's a little bit of a shit show. Oh, maybe I shouldn't have written that, but I did. Oh well. But I'm just saying it like I see it, right? Now, don't get me wrong. If I have a car wreck, I want U.S. medicine. I want to be treated like this. I mean, because we have the best trauma. That's not a good thing. You shouldn't be bragging that you're the best trauma. Car wrecks, gunshots, stab wounds, gang fights. Oh yeah, we've seen it all. We're the best trauma. Okay, great. Now in medicine, if you have an emergency heart attack, like you're hurting, man, I want to go to the emergency room, right? I want to go to the heart center. I want to be in the U.S. But if you got a cold, man, not good. It's not great service. If you want to get into preventative medicine, if you're trying to change your life for the better, if you're like, you know, your annual physical, and you say to your old doctor, like, you know, I want to lose some weight, they've got 7 minutes to tell you all your other shit. That they're refilling your medicine for your AFib and your high blood pressure. And you see what I'm saying? The system for the everyday person, for the everyday problem, is not that efficient. And when it's not that efficient, what happens? We get this problem. And this is what we're after. You don't want to throw the baby out with the bathwater. There are some great things in medicine, I get it, right? But we're nowhere close to curing cancer, not at all. We can't even get people to stop smoking, which is the number 1 cause of cancer, right? So if we can't even do that, we're in trouble. But what I want people to understand is this. We have to let this go. Let it go. Let this go. Let your ego go. Why? Yes, Mary, you're special. Yes, John, you're special. I know. You are. We all are. But just like in the way that we are all individually special, as a collective, we're very much the same. We are very similar. 2 eyes, nose, mouth, 10 fingers, 10 toes. You know, we all eat from this. We poop from below. We want to have sex. We want to have babies. We want to fall in love. We have insecurities. We're all very much the same. We all put our pants on the same way every morning. Both legs at once. Like me. So, we are a much larger part of a greater humanity. And it's that humanity that we've lost. It's that humanity that we are covering up in our obesity and our reasons. And we want to be unique and special and different. Because at the end of the day, our obesity, there's a Buddhist saying that says obesity is nothing more than a manifestation of all of our suffering. Our suffering is showing up in our obesity. And that's very true. Because at the heart of it, what every patient is saying when they come to me about their weight, they're saying, look at me. Notice me. Notice my suffering. I'm special. I think it's a silly notion to whine and complain that weight loss surgery programs don't have the same recommendations. And this is the last time I'm going to talk about this subject because it's so stupid and small. The bigger question that I'm concerned with is why the fuck do we even have weight loss surgery? We haven't figured it out by now. We really have to do this? Now, if you've had weight loss surgery, I'm very proud of you, and I'm here to support you and help you. But shouldn't we make it a mission that your daughter doesn't end up with weight loss surgery? Your son? Your aunt? Your niece? Aren't we a part of a bigger humanity that as a collective, we're all really suffering? And getting every weight loss surgery program to write the same recommendations will not work, will never happen because of all the reasons I described tonight. In fact, what needs to happen is that we need to elevate our consciousness and our thinking. Einstein said that the thinking that created the problem will not find the solution. The thinking that created obesity is not the same thinking that will find the solution. We have to rise up above all of this. I love you guys very much. I'm Dr. Duc Vuong. I'm going to cure obesity with your help.
Hi, Dr. Vuong here. If you loved that video, I hope you will check out velocity2020.com. I want to meet you in person. This is my big annual conference in Vegas. It's amazing. It's not just about weight loss surgery, but it's about taking your life up to the next level. You're going to meet the best people, the best speakers, the best audience possible. You're going to really take your life up to the next level. 2020 is all about vision, clarity, and focus. We're going to show you how to find your vision, what you really want to do with your life, get crystal clear, clarity, and then find your laser focus to do what you need to do to have the amazing life that you deserve. Hope to see you there.